Hello and welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst of Lists. I'm your host for this evening's endeavor. My name is Bo Ling, and I'm really punched as pleased to be able to bring you yet another insightful, profound Top 10 Worst of List. Today's Top 10 Worst of List is Top 10 Worst Things to Do on a Saturday Night. So, a lot of people have been, literally 2 or 3 people, which by the percentage of the amount of total people who've watched Top 10 Worst of Lists is off the chart, off the chain. We've received a lot of complaints about how our straddling the fence between an informational endeavor and a act of pompous self-indulgence is leaning a little bit more towards the pompous self-indulgence side of the fence. And I get it, me and Team Top 10 Worst Of are very sensitive to the idea that I spend hours upon hours force-feeding you, the viewers, like a bunch of foie gras ducks and veal cattle to soften you up, to make your livers expand and be plumped up for harvesting. By the way, a lot of people might not be down for it, but I've started a new company called Veal Calf Fetal Brands, where we, to make veal, they put small baby cows into pens where they can't move to soften them up and fatten them up, and then eventually harvest them without them ever being able to walk or graze or cast out cow poots into the ever-loving atmosphere. But I've got what's more confining than a cow womb, right? So if we really want to get some tender veal, why not just, line up a sluicing factory around cows that are giving birth and just grab the fetal cows and sluice them up for tasty, veal cutlets and veal parm, because there's nothing going to be more tender, a bigger tenderoni than a veal cow harvested directly in the birthing process. It's part of the birthing process. So, now listed on the NASDAQ, look us up. Our symbol is veal cow womb harvesting, or VCWH, on the NASDAQ. Make some money for yourselves. Everybody else is doing it. Anyway, top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night coming up at you. I have to take care of a little business. First of all, some disclaimers. Number 1, in case you haven't already noticed, in case I haven't made it obvious enough, I'm out of my gourd. As I like to say, 23 cans short of a 24 pack. I'm a hot dog without its casing. What can I tell you? I'm the lost meatball that rolled out of the door in the overnight camp musical favorite, I Lost My Poor Meatball. When somebody sneezed, I'm the poor meatball. Metaphorically, of course. And therefore, I can't be trusted or relied upon. Now, I'm not your typical weirdo. I'm not really in real life anywhere near as animated as I am on top 10 worst of lists. Your favorite in worst of lists as voted number one by Horse and Hound magazine in top 10 worst of lists. I kind of ramp things up. I snort a lot of saccharin mixed with baby laxative prior to each episode in order to crank it up to notches unknown, as Emeril Lagasse would say. Might say. Got to be careful here. I don't want to get it. Team Emeril is, profoundly litigious, as I've already learned, having been on the punishing end of a severe financial caning type of situation. But I'm not, what it is that I'm, I think my having been as dedicated to minutia, to detail-oriented analysis of the world around us, I think can, that type of commitment in the face of such mind-bogglingly depressing overall atmospheric conditions in our culture today can be easily mistook for madness. But I'm fine. Okay? 7-minute abs. But I can't be relied upon or trusted, because in a world where, where it's become more important to you to take the road less traveled, okay, as Robert Frost once pointed out, 2 roads in a yellow wood diverged, and I took the one that led towards the tree in the middle of the forest, as it were. It can provide you, there's so much indoctrination in our society messing with the whole idea of what it is to be nonconformist that, from both ends. And everybody's so intolerant now. The intolerance thing used to be the ballywick of the right, but there's just so much intolerance on the left now, too. It's just so confusing. How do you become a rugged individualist if everybody hates you for being an individualist? Conform. Number 2, I'm not partisan. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to play your stupid-ass game. It's just a means of having the power apparatus, getting us fighting amongst ourselves and treating each other like garbage. And so hateful. Oh, when are you going to wake up, people? We're all in this together. What the hell? So up your nose with a rubber hose. Sit on it, Potsy. And all those other colloquialisms of a bunch of dried out social engineering devices disguised as entertainment. People aren't friendly. People aren't nice. It's golden rule time, everybody. Get used to it. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Is it really that freaking big of a mystery that you can't figure that out as the baseline off of which all of us should be operating? Does it really feel good to you to be treated like garbage? Is that why you treat everybody else like garbage? Is that why you project all your hatred onto people? You can't, doom scroll your way through the lies in order to be able to find just a couple of, ways of networking with others and building a fighting force of extraordinary magnitude to protect our humanity in these seemingly and the seemingly fait accompli end of the human race? Has it really come to that? I mean, it's pretty obvious AI robots are here and ready to do our jobs and kick us to the freaking curb. And it's probably a done deal. I mean, look at the way these billionaires are kind of, strutting around like the cock of the walk. Billionaires are the cock of nothing. Not the walk, not the bee's knees, not the be-all end-all. They're cock of nothing. Cock of the walk, my ass. Anyway, so these top 10 lists, I know, get a lot of people reaching out saying these top 10 worst of lists are not real. They are real. It's put together by a team of former Philly Fanatic mascot actors who gathered together with me outside of the Tavern on the Green in Manhattan in order to be able to, when we take copious doses of baby laxative mixed with powdered Adderall in order to be able to come up with these lists. And finally, before we get into it, we've got some commercial sponsors, which are always so popular. The most popular and commented upon portion of our presentation. And today's sponsors are from the producers of the Fantastic Four. Now comes the Fantastic Foursome. A tale of four people who go off to shoot a round of golf. A Fantastic Foursome. See, I got you there. You thought it was going to be a different kind of foursome, didn't you? You perverts. Yes, I see you, pervert. See you. There you are. Manscaped from New York, and from the producers of Escape from New York, coming soon to a major motion picture indoctrination center near you. It's Manscaped from New York. It's the tale of Snake Plissken getting his snake dressed up for Saturday night. And that's a tie-in with our top 10 worst of list for today. Top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night. That's right. A lot of people have been complaining about that. We've been sort of just talking down to people, punching down, and on our high horse screaming from our ivory towers, etc., and trying to, act all high and mighty like we know the answers to everything. And this is what's bad. We're telling you what's bad so that you can be better and everything. Trying to, help things along and try to deprogram those who have been indoctrinated by the third-party outsourced propaganda ministry that we lovingly refer to as the mainstream media. So tonight we're doing something just a little bit more earthy, a little bit more pandering to the hoi polloi, as it were, the great unwashed. It's top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night. I mean, what could be better than that? It's just it's almost like you're watching the local news program, in reverse. All right, so I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Let's get to it, shall we? Number 10 on the top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night. Add ghost peppers to work function potato salad. You watch everybody squirm. or what's the Carolina Reapers and stuff, right into the potato salad. And you kind of cover it up maybe a little bit, but, chopping real fine, getting into that word processor or food processor or whatever you got. Any kind of processor will do. And pinch. But don't pinch anybody. God damn it. You ruin your career forever. One freaking pinch. You should have seen me. It was 1980. Everything was perfect. I was a 46-year-old advertising executive. And that one pinch, now they didn't get me for it for 40 years later. But then 40 years later, they found out there was one pinch. And I had that pinch. It was a tasty pinch, though. It was all cottage cheese. The cottage cheese pinch ruined my life. 40 years later. I'm the worst demon ever. Ghost peppers to work function potato salad. That'll be some real good, wholesome fun. Number 9 of the top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night. Okay, sneak ketchup into the mustard bottles at a local Chicago hot dog joint, and watch them squirm. It's like their kryptonite. Ketchup on a hot dog. Okay. And I love it. The people in Chicago, they got all these T-shirts saying like nobody F's with Chicago, right? They have all these, like everybody thinks that Chicago's a big whoop, like we're tough and everything like that. The absolute worst phony Democrats running this town, selling out the working class like it's, the be all end all. I just don't get it, man. I mean, why do people think that they're all that when they're just, a bunch of complacent drones doing exactly what the status quo do? They just announced in Chicago they're going forward on this $6 billion project to extend a train line for 4 stops into a massively underdeveloped, crime-addled neighborhood. $6 billion for a city that's already $1.2 billion in debt, and property taxes up the yin yang and stuff, that can't even afford to renovate their big by the lake football stadium and have to kick their beloved sports team into some godforsaken suburb. And the subcontractor that they got to do the bulk of the work for this expansion is a foreign company, so they're not even giving the money for this stuff to local Chicago businesses, and they're paying it to some foreign company. None of it makes sense until you figure out what's really happening here. That the government of Chicago is doing everything that they can to harm the people that live in Chicago, or the bulk of them, except the obviously like the billionaire class and stuff. Everything's doing just fine. They're building all these gardens in the middle of streets to clog them up. And once they've done that, they could have built bike paths in the areas that they put all these gardens in the middle of streets. Instead of now, they've got no space to be able to do it, and they're pushing cars out into the middle of traffic and blocking all the parking for all the local businesses and stuff like that, when all the box stores have their own parking lots. I mean, it's obvious that there's a full-on attack on the working class and, small independent businesses, the blue-collar types, by people posing as Democrats. The Democrats used to be the party of the working class. I mean, for a brief amount of time, but you don't even see it. It's just like it's like a lobster where they slowly turn up the heat to boil you to death. The Democrats have slowly been. It started with Old Man Daley when he starts, getting a bunch of police to beat the hell out of the local protesters at the 1968 Democratic Convention, and it just kind of creeps up. The next Daley, the younger, is selling all the parking meters and city-owned parking lots to billionaire class for pennies on the dollar, and destroying a local small airport downtown to just build a garden and name it after his wife and stuff like that. It's just sad. And then they, to make up all the budget shortfalls, they put all these red light cameras and speed cameras in poor neighborhoods and stuff like that, so they can ruin people's lives with outrageously expensive tickets that are unconstitutional because you can't face your accuser, as the Constitution supposedly protects our right to do, and triples or something like that the amount of money that you owe if you're like 3 hours late on processing your payment to them. So if you don't have enough money to do it, either your debt amplifies by a ton of money, or you have to go to one of those cash advance places where the billionaires get you there. Billionaires got you coming and going. And who's going to oppose them if we don't have any opposing party? If it's all a one-party system where everybody's working for, what's that old song? Everybody's working for the weekend? Instead of weekend. People should be working for the weekend. Those who have been weakened by the billionaire class and their endless propensity to do things evil and malignant and malevolent and misanthropic, all these M words. And there's the D word too. It's not what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. D word: detached, dehumanized, demoralized, defenseless. Horror show. All right, so what was it? Trying to be? This is supposed to be a lighthearted list. Let's get back to it anyway. Number 8 of the top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night: put Disney out of business through a series of money moves. Wouldn't the world be great if Disney didn't exist? All that stupid corporate sellout bulldink that they put, puke out on a relentless basis. The frickin' Jonas Brothers, the Lizzie McGuire's, the Holly McDaniel, whatever that's what Hallie Steinfeld. What's that lady's name? Molly Montana, and I don't watch a lot of it. Radio Disney and stuff. And Epcot. Oh, don't get me started on frickin' Epcot. But it'd just be great to have a world without Disney and all this just sort of sterilization of the mind that they've been committing, and underlying sort of ultra racist stuff that they've been passing off as entertainment for all these years, and just screw them with a big giant fat one of those 1,000-year-old redwood trees from the Big Sur National Redwood Forest or whatever the hell. Give them the big one, the biggest one in the whole park. Putting Disney out of business would be, just even the thought of it is making me misty. I'm tearing up here. I'm, like butter. Number 7 of the top 10 worst things to do on Saturday night, and I love this one's my personal favorite. It's taking asparagus whiz in someone's Halloween pumpkin, and be like, right before the trick or treating, and they open the door and you've got the apple with the razor blades inside of it, and the kids are all dressed up like Hannah Montana and Lizzie McGuire and the Jonas Brothers. Trick or treat, and you're like, who smells like asparagus whiz around here? What a fun time that would be. And why does everybody have to do everything the frickin' same? Everybody's, just so full of hate. A few asparagus whiz filled pumpkins could be, like liberating. Number 6, the top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night. Kick an irritable Wolverine in the solar plexus. Shift gears once in a while, people. Why you gotta always play the chalk? Leap outside the box and come and see how the other half lives. Roll the dice. Take a flyer. Things don't always have to be as you're told. You don't have to ever do things like not kick an irritable Wolverine in the solar plexus. Roll the freaking dice, people. All right, number 5, top 10. Dress like Rambo and call everyone Murdoch. That's right. Murdoch. I'm coming for you, Murdoch. Murdoch! It's a pretty, fair to middling Rambo impersonation. I didn't know that I had Rambo in me. Murdoch. Stella. Now, what was that lady's name from Rocky? Adrian. Folly. What'd you do to Adrian? I'll have to add that to the list. The only other imitation that I know of that I can do is Mr. Roper from Three's Company. Are you ready for my Mr. Roper? Here we go. Here we go. Mr. Roper from Three's Company. Thank you. Thank you. Keep those donations to the... What is it, the thing? Patreon. Keep those tips coming to my Patreon. I'm the worst. Number 4 of the top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night. Outfit invasive carp species with body armor. Now the carp, they're coming, man. The carp are coming. They're not funding the way they should be in protecting the carp. They got the invasive species. They somehow got into the rivers in Illinois and stuff like that. And they keep trying to make their way into Lake Michigan, where they would do irreparable harm to the ecosystem there. Or eco sounds like equal. How could people live with themselves for destroying the equal system or the ecosystem? Two like-sounding systems that need a lot of self-sacrifice. Instead of spending $6 billion on expanding a public train line into an underserviced area, maybe we should be spreading that around a little bit. There's so much need. After all, there's 2 different train lines that run through that area already that would cost maybe a tenth of the amount of money to outfit to accommodate the populations in those areas, so that we'd have 2 different train lines to take without having to spend $6 billion that you don't have most of which are giving over to a foreign company. Plus, you're going to block the busiest highway in the city of Chicago for 5 to 6 years while you build bridges over the top of it that you'll need to do to expand this system. So you're going to snarl traffic in Chicago for 5 or 6 years while you build bridges over 2 different highways to be able to do it, which they aren't talking about. Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea that any of this stuff is waiting. This is a full-on attack against the people in the Midwest of Chicago and regionally in general, because a lot of the shipping still takes place of products by 18-wheelers and stuff like that. How are we going to get our paper bags into our grocery stores with the dozens of extra trucks that are necessary in order to be able to bring the same amount of bags, grocery bags, to the same store, because paper bags are so much heavier and bulkier than plastic? How are we going to get them in? We've got the largest expressway coming into the city blocked for 5 to 6 years. Oh dear. Please, no, don't tell me that it's going to lead to us having to use cheaper and more effective and less pollutant plastic bags again. No! Is anybody buying this? Anybody? Anybody? No! Number 3, the top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night. Start a magazine called Hive Minds versus Mob Mentality. Really, do we all have to fight against each other? What's the difference between setting up a line between right-wingers and left-wingers and funneling people indiscriminately into both camps based on a wide range of things that don't apply to any categorization? What's the difference between going right and left versus maybe you just have one called Hive Minds and have the other one called Mob Mentality? I'm officially changing the name of the Democratic Party to Hive Minds and officially changing the name... Officially changing the name of the Republican Party into Hive Minds and the Democratic Party to Mob Mentality. And duke it out, man. I tell you to duke it out. You must duke it out. You've been told. You have no power to resist. And now... cluck like a chicken. Cluck like a chicken. All right, number 2 of the top 10 worst things to do on a Saturday night. Replace the neighbor's dog with an order of shrimp scampi. Yeah. Oh dear. Wasn't the dog a little more feisty? Last time we played with him, the dog seems a little listless. Well, he does smell a little garlicky, hun. Perhaps we should take him to the VET. The VET. Oh, honey, I love the way you operate. Let's do it in the kitchen table. And wouldn't it be nice, for a change, if we didn't have recreational pets pooping like nobody's business and having people wrap them up in super thick plastic bags, okay, that go right into the landfill. We're making billions of tons of extra landfill stuff every year. It's just because people can't connect with other people. They're so starved for unconditional love that they project whatever it is that pets seemingly portray in their mind's eye in regards to unconditional love. Well, let's be honest. It doesn't really matter, because whatever is going on there has absolutely nothing to do with true emotions as we experience them as human beings. And, the proof of the pudding is Hitler had a dog named Blondie. And Blondie probably loved Hitler just as much as your little doggy Oh, you think that your little doggy loves you? Hitler comes home after a long day at Treblinka, and Blondie sees him, and Blondie's like, oh, master, master, master. Kisses, kisses, kisses. Kisses aren't kisses. Dogs licking your face are for the salt content, not for an expression of love. Besides, since when is licking somebody's face an expression of love? Whew! Damaged goods. Oh, and here we go. The number one. It's time for the big old number one of the top 10 worst of things to do on a Saturday night. It's self-publish a book called A Beginner's Guide to the Wonders of Dirt Napping. Look, I talk about it all the time on the show, the things that are being used against us to divide us into smaller and smaller groups so that it becomes more and more possible for us to collectivize as one, to protect our failing humanity and against a group of lapdogs who call themselves politicians, but they're really just facilitators of the ruling elite's greed and their wish list to enact items on their wish list, have absolutely no regard for representing people. This is not a representative government. It never has really been a representative government of anybody besides the white, wealthy landowners and rich people and stuff. Everybody else is just, here and there we've had little dribs and drabs of things that made us feel liberated within the confines of our captivity. But it's all, pretty much was a short-lived thing between like 1955 and 1970 that we all just sort of project as still an element of our society. Like young people are plugged in and have a sort of connection to an honest authenticity in the world that old people have forgotten about. Young people are freaking useless automatons. We've done a horrible job at raising them, allowed them to be plugged in to devices that are connected directly to Mind Control Central, which is a propaganda department that exists somewhere in the sub-basement of the NSA, and just let them become tools of the aristocracy. Mouth-breathing brain stems that have become completely detached from reality, with no appropriate prioritization of their actions and energies, who just sit around and follow Taylor Swift and pose down on TikTok and complain about everything without offering real solutions that benefit anybody, even themselves. Oh, we need to destroy all the small dive bars because they're not paying us enough to demonstrate our hobby. Instead of going after, Spotify that's paying people 0.001 cents for every spin and exploiting their content to become billionaires. Or, talking about how people have to pay to play in small clubs that are barely surviving because nobody will go to them because they're so busy going to these, brain dead sporting events and wrestling matches to support local artisanship, and they have a totally oblivious to the fact that the Super Bowl halftime performers have to pay in order to be able to play the Super Bowl halftime show. The biggest names in all of entertainment have to pay to play at our largest cultural celebration, which is nothing more than a collective opportunity to dump a bunch of multi-million-dollar commercials down our throats. All right, anyway, that's all the time we got for Top 10 Worst Stuff list. It's just a pleasure to be here. A disclaimer here as I bid my fair adieu. Everything I've said here is opinions, not of my own, but, just stuff that's sort of traversing the ether in the zeitgeist that, most people ignore, that I've decided to tap into and just trying to, convey messages that you can't hear anywhere else because everything else is just this corporate giant sellout. It's a race to the bottom. And everybody's winning. Oh, I let one loose. All right, well, what a pleasure it's been. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of the party. Frick that like button. Freaking smash that freaking like button. You freaking animal, juicy, tasty animal. Let's just try to get through this mess together, okay? No, wait, no.